When my husband went to Zim, he ended up doing Ukuthwala rituals because he had used all of the money that we had in the savings and he was owing other people a lot of money. My name, you call me Norma, and today I am a practicing attorney with my own small firm, and I am someone that is living a normal life. One thing that I make sure that I do is that I pray as well as my kids. I hope that they will never take the spirit of their father. They will never be possessed by the spirit that possessed their father, which seduced them to go and to do Ukuthwala rituals. Before I had gotten this degree, there is something bad that happened in my life that I will never forget. The sacrifices that my ex-husband, who is late now, he made a sacrifice, but he wanted to sacrifice me in the end. So it was back in 2012. Me and my husband, we were not doing so okay. He used to work for the municipality, but then he was fired from work for a particular reason, and we were drowning in debt. There were many days when we did not have any food to eat. My late ex-husband, whom I'll call Mandla, he was a good man initially, or so I thought. I did not know that there was a seed already of evil that was inside of his heart. My husband, he had never managed to finish school, whilst I had the passion to become an attorney one day, and I was very bright. So my husband, he had two cars. We had two cars at our home. We had one Isuzu, which was a single cab. This was the one that he used to drive quite often. So early in the morning, around 4 a.m., he would be busy getting ready to go to Joburg Market downtown. He would have what he would have gotten the previous day from big suppliers, whether it was fruits, tomatoes, onions, depending with the season. He would drive into town as early as possible. He would sell them not one by one. He would sell them to the street vendors. For him, he would always complain that it was a lot of exhausting work, but he was a good man, Shane. One evening, that was when he said to me something that I will never forget. He said, Norma, my love, since I failed to become highly educated, how about you? I want you to be the one that is going to lift our family and my family's name. I am going to work this bargain until the wheels fall off. Go to university, my love, study your law, and you will upgrade my dream. Then later, when you are a lawyer and we have money, you can help me take credit and you can help me to open a supermarket. That was his dream. He wanted to start a supermarket in the castle where we were staying. When he said this to me, I really cried for real. So I then did what I always dreamt of. I enrolled at the university, but the reality of our life, it was just incredibly brutal. University fees, they were too much. Every semester, the bills will always pile up, and I felt to secure a student loan. We had young children to feed, we had rent to pay, and textbooks to buy. Marla was working himself for me every day. But this fruit and veggie business, it was even barely helping us. We were just keeping our heads above the water. The breaking point came during my second year. I went onto the campus computer. Back in those days, you would go to the campus computer, you would log onto what we called ITS system. There were no portals. then you would check your academic transcript and register. So then access was denied for me because I was on financial hold. In simple today's terms, I was blocked from accessing the portal. The university simply wanted their money, or I was out. I went home that day. I was ready to break down. I even wanted to commit suicide because I said, what is the use of all of this? I then told Mandla when he came back tired as well, and I told him that I was quitting. I could not do it anymore because the stress on its own was destroying me, and we had a child that was hyperactive who did not understand the situation. Mandla, he said to me that I should not worry. Everything was going to be okay. A few days later, that was when he came home. He was very excited about something. He told me that he had been talking with his barber from downtown, a Zimbabwean guy whom I later got to know him by the name Freddie, and I knew very little about him. So, him and Freddie had actually looked at our second-hand vehicle. We had an old double-cab Toyota Hilux that my late husband would not even drive because the engine was faulty and we had no money to fix it. It was mixing water and oil. Freddie then said that there is money to be made once you fix it. I said, how so? And this was what he had been told by his friend. And when I asked my late husband, he said that if they were going to find a trailer, fix the back in, and since we lived in an area with so many Zimbabweans that were working, like back in those days, they would look for people that had bakkies. Then they would load their groceries, furniture, anything that they bought in South Africa, and then they would send it. So I did not know about this business. He explained it and he said it's Umalaisha business, and there was a lot of money to be made because these people, they knew where we stayed. They could bring their things. We would keep them in the garage until we had a load, and he would go with Freddie to Zim. So I said, fine, you can do it. On his first cross-border trip, my late husband, he returned with a lot of money. It was clean, massive profit. I started to know more about that country. Anything that you buy in SA, you can sell it twice for the price that site. We managed to pay a lot of my late university fees. The IT system was unblocked. I was happy. Just when things started to move in the right direction, the second trip, a total disaster. He came back empty-handed. He told me that at the border and the traffic cops, they had taken a lot of money from him on both sides of the country, and he had spent every single cent of his profit on the bribes. We were right back where we used to be. The only benefit was that we had fixed our Toyota Hilux, but it now had a lot of kilometers on it. This just meant that we were where we used to be. That was when that guy, Freddie, introduced my husband to the road of Ukuthwala. Freddie had told my husband that in order for us to move as if we are invisible on the N1, his Umalume had real spiritual power. They were going to be given some sort of special herbs that they had to bath with, so that when they are on the N1, no traffic cop can even stop them. I did not even know that when I said if it is going to work, then try it. That is what my late husband had been waiting for. The go ahead, the green light from me, so that he can go ahead and do his Ukuthwala had sacrificed me without me even knowing. Even though he wanted to sacrifice me, but at the same time, I do feel sorry for him because he got himself involved in things that he did not understand the culture behind it. Shortly after their meeting with that Umalume, my late husband then completely stopped making his cross-border trips to Zim. He just stayed at home, never went to buy the tomatoes, onions in bulk and resell them. He was always at home. And there was always money. I'll be like, Manza, where are we getting the money? I was scared because his former workmate had been arrested recently for bombing an ATM. I thought that this was what he was doing, and he was always talking about those trucks, the ones for cash in transit. I was thinking that my husband, he was stealing money from those trucks. I was always asking him, "You're no longer working, you're always at home." I would go to school, come back, but there was always money. He would take me for dinner dates at different hotels. We would come back home late around 10, 11, enjoying life. Where is the money coming from? Then one day, he just locked the bedroom door and then he pulled me towards the bed. He knelt down and he reached under the bed and then he took out a black sports bag. When he unzipped it, my breath caught in my throat. It was completely packed to the brim with a lot of cash, hundreds of thousands of rands. And then this is what he said to me. Every single night when you are asleep, my wife, I have been hearing a strange scratching sound under the bed like a rat. He said to me that whenever he would look underneath the bed, because he thought that maybe it was a rat that was trying to build a nest in the base of the bed. And then that was when he saw a massive big snake, and then it started to vomit money on the floor. When he told me this, I said, "A snake? Why on earth you did not wake me up if we have a snake in the house? Why did you leave me walking around knowing that we have a snake?" I was even standing on top of the bed at that time. And then that was when he said to me, "I wanted to wake you up, but Umalume, the one from Zim, had given him a strict warning. He was told that he should never, ever, ever wake me up when this snake is in the process of vomiting money." I said, "Why not?" He said to me, "If you open your eyes and you witness this creature, you will instantly suffer a massive stroke and die right here on the bed." I sat there and I wanted to run away from what Mandla was telling me. But the money was there. I had never seen so much money. Within just 2 years, he bought 5 taxis, and from there on, he upgraded and he bought a Scania truck, one of those side tippers. To this very day, I'm not lying to you, that side tipper trailer, it is still parked in Benoni. That is where the trailer is parked at this other white man's place. He left it there, and I'm sure that they're going to sell it. I don't know, but it's still parked there, and it is still gathering a lot of storage fees. We moved out of our small room into a big house, and I graduated from law school, and from there on, me and my husband, there were crazy things that would happen. When we would try to be intimate, like he would panic, like really panic, and he would be unable to sleep with me. So our love was no longer the same. Yes, we would go on vacations, we would shop, we would dine together, but in the bedroom, we were two different people. All of these things were exposed for real when my auntie passed away, who was my mother's younger sister. She lived in KZN, but in the rural areas. We went there, the whole family were gathered, in-laws and everything. Strangely, Mandla flatly refused to accompany me, and he knew that I hated to drive. So I drove with my kids to KZN alone. The day of the burial arrived. According to our tradition, the coffin was brought into a house, but through the large sliding door that led into the lounge, because she had built a big house in the rural area. So the family could have a final viewing and morning prayers before the final send-off. But when the people tried, including our uncles, tried to lift the coffin to carry it back to the his, then it was just confusion that was happening. One was looking that way, another one looking that side. It was just like this funny confusion that happened the moment that they tried to touch that coffin. That was when I saw that the spiritual world, it is for real. As for this coffin, it refused to move. 6 people they tried, but it failed to move. They tried everything, but it could not be lifted. Then there was an elder from a local apostolic church. He then came and started praying in tongues. And he shouted, "You, my daughter." So one of my auntie, she was the one who pulled me and went with me to that prophet, because my eyes were closed as he was praying. And then he said, "Your auntie, she is dead, but she is crying. She is holding onto this house because she wants to tell you something. But she says that she can't tell you in front of everyone. She will tell you when you come to my house. But as for now," she is saying, "my daughter, come and touch my coffin right now. I will protect you." So I was shaking because I thought that maybe I was a witch or something. That is why I had been called to the prophet. My hands were sweating and I was shaking. So I was led by my auntie, my mom's young sister, and I just touched the coffin. The moment that my fingers made contact with the coffin, we just had like something that had cracked underneath the coffin. And then my uncles, they were able to lift the coffin as if it was nothing had happened, back to the car, and we took it to the graveyard to be buried. After the burial, as the apostolic prophet had said, he had called my mother aside and told me to bring me to his house immediately before I could travel back to Joburg, because danger was waiting for me in Joburg, according to what he told my mom. So when we went there, we were not accompanied by anyone, even my kids, because this was what he had said he had been told by my late auntie. When we were at his house, he said this, "My daughter, your husband wants you dead. Do you know that?" The prophet then said this, "Your husband, he has tokoloshis in his house right now. These tokoloshis, he got them from another country, and these tokoloshis, they have been giving him money. But when he was given money, he was never told that this money is not going to come to him for free. In order for him to continue making money, there is blood that is supposed to be shed. He has no choice. Even if he does not want you dead, he has to sacrifice you." When he went back to strengthen his charms, he intended to sacrifice someone else, but by mistake, he spoke your name at the shrine. Your name is written in a rock in that country. I was shocked to hear that my name had been written on a rock in Zim and I was supposed to be dead. The hardest thing was for me to believe. It is very hard for any woman to believe that a boyfriend, a blessum, a husband can use him to get money, like satanic money. It really does not make sense until you have the proof. So that apostolic prophet prayed for me, and then I was helped to do a cleansing ritual. I felt violated at that time because this prophet then instructed the wife to undress me. And the wife came and undressed me, and then he started to bath me. I said, if this was on any other day, this man, I was going to get him arrested. But for the sake of my mother, and because of the story that Mandla had told me, I said, let me just wait and see. He then gave me some holy charms and told me to bath with them every single night. And I was going to see what was going to happen. I returned back from KZN and my marriage died completely. Those holy charms that I was using, that I had been given by the prophet, the moment that I started to use them, Mandla could not even look into my eyes. For a full year, until our divorce was finalized, he refused to touch me or to be intimate with me. So the wealth ritual required my death through intimacy, but because I was spiritually protected, he could not access me. He was angry at me, claiming that I was cheating. He would not even dare touch me. After our divorce, I packed my bags. I already had my own place, and I took my kids and I walked away from his money ritual wealth. He quickly remarried. I was even hurt because I still loved him. And over the next few years, you won't even believe it, he remarried 3 different women. One of the other lady, she was young Shane. She was from Lesotho. And all of these women, they died one after the other. All of them, they passed away. Eventually, we all move on. I moved on with my own life. I healed, focused on my work, and then I married my current husband, a good God-fearing man who loves me for who I am. Not long after my marriage, that was when the news reached me that Mandla had passed away. I went for the funeral. I did not tell anyone. My mother was also told not to tell anyone by that apostolic prophet the things that he had helped me with. I just looked at his relatives, even when I was there, like they were giving me this vibe as if I had came to fight for the truck, I had came to fight for the taxis, but no, I was not there for that. I just wanted my kids to be there for the final send-off of their dad. So that truck, by the time that he passed away, it was parked at the premises of this other white man, and he was holding it, claiming storage fees, blah, blah, blah. You know what they do. And I don't know, but it is still there. The trailer is still there. The Scania truck, that is the one that I had, that it was taken, but the trailer, it is there. And I think by now, even weeds are growing inside because it has been a very long time. They fought for the taxis. They even tried to recruit me, saying that since me and Mandla, we had a son, I was supposed to get something out of the inheritance. But because I know where this money came from, I never even wanted to be associated with the wealth. So I let them fight, the mother-in-law, the brothers, the sisters. It was just confusion that was happening. But I just want to thank God that I came out of it alive. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our admin who helped us with the translation. Strange, strange things indeed. They do happen in this world. Let us try to speak with our system and talk about this in the comment section. I'll be back with another episode.